guys, it's me. Today we're going to be doing another true crime person. I know it's been a while, and today we're going to be talking about Ed Kemper. This is him. Ed was born December 18, 1948. He is the third. His mom and dad got divorced. His mom and dad got divorced, it's to say, because Ed's mom would verbally abuse Ed and his dad. When Ed's parents got a divorce, his dad was a World War II veteran. He was a middle child. His clarinet affected him, his mom. Kemper weighed 13 pounds when he was born. He was said to have taken his sister's dolls and contained in him removing their heads and hands. And on one occasion, when his elder sister, Suzanne Kempner, teased him and asked him why he didn't try to kiss his teacher, he replied, "If I kissed her, I would have killed her." Yeah, he wanted to kiss one of his teachers. And they would play gas chamber as a kid and the electric chair. So, you know, that. So, yes. And it's also to say, when Edmund's dad moved out of the house, his mom would make him sleep downstairs, and locked him in the closet because she was afraid that she would turn him gay, end quote. He also suffered from borderline personality disorder. At the age of 15, he ran away from home to reconcile with his father he lived with for a little bit in California. He married. He had a stepson, and then they sent him to live with his paternal grandparents. That's what the dad did. And Kemper, what he did was, one day him and his grandmother were arguing. His grandmother, I'm just gonna pronounce her middle name, Matilda Kemper. When they had an argument, Kemper stormed off and retrieved a rifle his grandfather has given him for hunting. He re-entered the kitchen and fatally shot his grandmother in the head before firing 2 more times in the back of the head. Some accounts mentioned she suffered multiple post-mortem stab wounds with the kitchen knife. That's what they've said. And then what he did with his grandfather, he returned home with the groceries, and Kempner didn't want his grandfather to see his wife died, so he grabbed the gun, shot him point blank in the face. Then he called his mom, and he was like, "Mom, I shot my grandparents, I don't know what to do." And so his mom was like, "You either call the police or I will call for you." And then he was sent to the California Youth Authorities. He was there for a little bit. He had a really good IQ. His IQ was 136. Yes, the highest result was 145. Kemper was a model prisoner. You know, he trained well. He did I can't say it. He did a lot of tests on the other inmates, and he did very good. On his 21st birthday, he was released from jail. While staying with his mother, he had to attend college and then go check in with his parole. They nicknamed him Big Ed because he was very tall, and he Yes, I'm trying, y'all. Um, he would pick his victims. I'm trying. This is a lot of paperwork, okay? I'm just gonna read little snippets. Please forgive me. So, yeah, it's to have said that Ed actually, he wanted to be a police officer after this, but he did not meet the age. He did not meet the height requirement. So, yeah. He couldn't be a cop, and he was friends with all the cops in the area at this time. And then he was like, he bought a refurbished cop car. It was, I think he painted it yellow. He would pick up hitchhikers. This is before he killed them. So now we're going to go on to the victims. Just a warning, this may get a little graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. So I'm going to get on with what he did. So, Mary Ann Pierce and this other lady, I can't pronounce her name. On May 17, 1972, Kemper was driving in Berkeley when he picked up two 18-year-old hitchhikers from Fresno State students, Mary Ann Pearsley and Mary Ann, I can't pronounce her name, on the pretense of taking them to Stanford University. After driving for an hour, he managed to reach a secluded wood area near Alcamin. I can't really pronounce words. Please forgive me. With which he was familiar from his work as a highway department. Without alerting his passengers, he had changed directions from where they wanted to go. He had handcuffed one and then locked the other one in the trunk, then stabbed and strangled one of them. And then he brushed the back of his hand on one of their breasts, embarrassed. And then he said, "Oops, I'm sorry." And then he killed her. So he took both bodies in his Ford Galaxy, returned to his apartment, and then stopped by the police department. So what he would do is he would cut off their heads and arms, and then he would, do what necrophiliacs do with people's bodies. I'm not going to say what the meaning is because this is YouTube. And then, yes. And then Aku on the evening of September 14th, 1972, Kemper picked up a 15-year-old dance student named Aku. I can't pronounce this woman's name. We're just going to call her A. A, who had decided to hitchhike to dance class after missing her bus. He again drove to a wooded area. He pulled a gun on her and then accidentally locked himself out of his car, whatever. He locked himself out of the car. Okay, one of this girl did. Did she drive away? No. She let him back in the car. And then she died. And then again, he cut off her head and her hands and buried them. So, with Cindy, on January 7th, 1973, Kemper, who had moved back in with his mother, driving around college campus, he picked up 18-year-old student Cindy Ann, they called her, drove to a secluded wooded area and fatally shot her with a .22 caliber pistol, then placed the body in the trunk of his car and drove to his mother's house, where he kept her body hidden in the closet in his room overnight, where his mother left for work the next morning, had sexual intercourse with her, and he cut off her head and her hands. And it's to say that he buried her, looking up because his mom said something like, I'm not too sure. And then over the course of a few weeks, all but her head was right hand, and the right hands were discovered and pieced together like a jigsaw puzzle. They determined she had been cut with a power saw. God, this is disgusting. So I'm just going to show you the next victim. These two. I don't know why I didn't just do that shit. On February 15th, 1973, after a heated argument with his mother, Kemper left the house to search for possible victims. With heightened suspicion of a serial killer preying on hitchhikers in the Santa Cruz area, students were advised to only accept rides from cars with the university sticker on them. Kemper had such a sticker as his mother worked for the University of California, St. Cruz. He encouraged 23-year-old Rosalind Heather Thorpe and 20-year-old Alice Helen Allison Lou on the ACS campus. According to Kemper, he shot Lou. Hold on. He had a fatal shot to Thumper and then Lou with a .22 caliber pistol and wrapped their bodies in warm blankets. So Kemper again brought his victims back to his mother's house, beheaded them, removed their hands, and began having sex with them. And the last two, I think this is the last two. Yes. On April 20th, 1973, after coming home from a party, 50-year-old Claire Emily Stringbeing await her son when her arrival. Just a warning, this part's about his mom, what he did to his mom. So, if you don't want to watch this, please watch my other ones. This one is very gross. So his mom was sitting on her bed reading a book, noticed Kemper entered her room and said to him, I suppose you're going to want to sit here all night and talk now. Kemper replied, no, good night. And then he waited for her to fall asleep before returning to Bloomington her hair, and then hit her with a claw hammer and slit her throat with a knife. He subsequently decapitated her, engaged in burrito. I'm just gonna say this. He cut off his mom's head, used it for down there, and proceeded to use his mother's head as a dartboard. So, Kemper later said, much as she bitched and screamed and yelled at me over so many years, Kemper then hid his mother's corpse in the closet, went out with a drink near a bar. Upon his return, he invited his mother's best friend over, and then Kemper strangled her to death, creating a cover story with his mother. So, approximately at 5:15 a.m. Saturday, no need for her to suffer more with her hands of this horrible, murderous butcher. As I would quickly asleep the way I wanted. It was not sloppy, incomplete, just a lack of time. I got things done. So, afterwards, Kemper fled the scene and drove nonstop to Puerto Rico, Colorado, taking a caffeine pill to stay awake. And then over a 1,000-mile journey, he had 3 guns and 100 rounds of ammunition in his car and believed he was target of an active manhunt. After not hearing any news on the radio about the murders of his mother, when he had arrived at Puerto Rico, he found a phone booth, called the police, and he confessed at At later time, several hours later, Kemper called again, asking to speak to the officer he personally knew. He confessed to the officer killing his mother and halted and waited for the police to arrive. After taking him into custody, he also confessed to murdering the 6 students. This is what he looked like during his trial. So, he was sent to a crazy bin. This is what he looks like now. He's still alive. He was sent to the California mental facility. He was incarcerated. And it's also to say I'm throwing that away. Yeah. A lot of shit. It's to say that his mom said something like this, I quote, I haven't had sex in a while because of you, and I quote. And Kemper lives out the rest of his days. You know, he reads to some of the older people. He's doing very well. He had a very fucked up childhood. Also, this is another quote. When he was interviewed once, they're like, how do you feel about females now? On one hand, I want to date her, get to know her, but on the other hand, I want to see what her head looks like on a stick. So, yeah. So, that is Ed Kemper, aka the coed killer. Yeah, my thoughts. If Ed would have had a better mom, he would have had a better outcome on life. His mom, oh my god. His dad too, man. If his dad would have been there for him, he would have been better. And if his mom would have showed him love like he did their sisters, I think he would have had a better life. So he actually answers fan mail. Y'all guys can write him a letter if you want, ask him, whatever. So anyway guys, I hope you liked today's video. I think I'm going to be doing a series on this channel for Monday, and I hope y'all guys have a good day. Bye guys.